Math for You. My name is Laura. So we are going to do another lesson on something that we're doing in my class, which is finding patterns with fractions. So let's get started. Okay, so I've written two patterns up on the board, and this is what I did with my class. I kind of wrote these problems out and I said, can you find the patterns in these two sequence of fractions? So they caught on to this really quick, which was great. So I can move on to another lesson after this. So in this case, we would have to look at the numerator and the denominator and then the following numbers to see what the sequence would be. And if you look at this, you can see that 4 is twice of 2, 8 is twice of 4. Also, you would see that you have a 1, and then you would assume that you would do 2 here because 2 times 2 is 4, and then you would kind of follow the same logic as the denominator in this case. So you would say that it was 1/2 and then 2 over 4, 4 over 8, and then the next one would be twice 2 times 4, which would be 8. Of course, 8 times 2 is 16, and then the next one would be 2 times 8, which would be 16, and then 16 times 2 is 32, and then 16 times 2 again is 32, and then you have 32 times 2, which is 64. So that's that sequence. And then you move down to the next sequence, and you see that you have a 6, 8, and 10, and the first three denominators. Then you have a 2 and a 3, and the second and third numerators. So in this case, I would say, okay, well, we're adding 1 to the numerator, but then we're adding 2 to the denominator. So that would be the sequence. So that would mean that the first numerator would be 1. Then you go to 2, 3, 6, 8, 10. Now the bottom's going to be 12, the denominator. Here it's going to be 12. This one is going to be 4. Next denominator is going to be 14. This one's going to be 5. And then we have 16, and then 6, and then we have 7 over 18 would be the next one. So that in a nutshell is finding the sequences. Right now we're moving on to the next step or next lesson in finding fraction equivalency. So this is finding the equivalencies between two fractions. Why is this helpful? Well, this will help them to see fractions in a different way, where we were reducing fractions about 2 lessons ago, which I did about, 6 weeks on that, where we were multiplying fractions by whole numbers, and then they had to reduce them or make them into proper fractions or into a mixed compound fraction. So that was very difficult, which I remember at their age, it was very difficult for me as well, because it takes their brain time to develop. So this is helpful in seeing the equivalencies of fractions to help them to see, like I said, to see fractions in a different way and to help them reduce them, so they can see that, hey, 2/3 is equal to this, 1/4 is equal to this, and 9/12 is equal to this. Also, we used our fraction boxes, like I've explained in my previous videos, where you use pieces of plastic fractions that are cut into little pie shapes, so like halves, fourths, thirds, eighths, quarters, things like that. So that kind of helps them to see that, hey, 2/3 is equal to something over 9. So let's get started to figure out how we find the fraction equivalency. So here we have 2/3 and then equals something over 9. So we could say that 3 times 3 equals 9. So we could say that 2 times 3 equals what? So we're going to multiply this fraction by 3 over 3. And that is going to give us 6/9. Now, we can look at the next one, which is 1/4. But we know that 4 times 2 equals 8. So we can say that 1 times 2 equals 2. So 1/4 equals 2/8. And then 9/12. This one's a little bit more difficult. These ones, you're kind of going backwards. So you would say that 12 divided by 3 would equal 4. So 9 divided by 3 would equal 3. There we go. My 3 is a little bit better there. So this is how you do fraction equivalencies. Like I said before, it's basically trying to find what is the magic number and what operation are you doing. Are you multiplying or dividing to find the equivalency? So these two, you're multiplying the numerator and denominator by a number. In this case, you're multiplying it by 3 over 3. This case, you're multiplying it by 2 over 2. In this case, you are dividing each number by 3 to get your equivalency. And again, we can look at it with the fraction pieces as more of a tactile way of looking at things so that they can see that, yes, visually, 2/3 does equal 6/9, 1/4 does equal 2/8, 9/12 does equal 3/4. So, same idea, same thing. So they can see it on the board and with their hands. So, thank you for watching. I appreciate you hanging out with me this evening and doing some more fun math. So please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.